Yo, what's up, guys? It's the Insane Game Freak here. We're back at it again with another movie review, and I have brought more people because
No way!
no, Richie, don't.
The more the merrier.
I'm glad we're starting on a good foot, folks. It's besides the point. So, of course, Tyrone's here. Say hi, Tyrone.
Hello, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 here.
And Richie's here.
What is up? Good to be back here again.
We have two newbies on the channel. First up, TSS. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Terrell.
Good. And we also have, well, I want to say, is it just Polly, or do I need to say, I don't know the full name, or is it just Polly?
Polyworld 42 is basically been that for a while, but Poly is fine.
And their links will also be included with Tyrone's and Richie's in the description. I wanted to get, ironically enough, I don't know if this is the film to do this on, but why not? Why not go into it? We figured everyone was here. This is after Thanksgiving break. Also, hoping you guys enjoyed your vacation, and if you were off from school, or if you were off from work, or if you were spending time with the family, what have you. Hope you enjoyed yourself in your days. Today we're going to talk about movie 6, Pokémon Jirachi and the Wishmaker. I'm going to start things off a little differently before Tyrone gets into the plot summary. Because
But what about the Japanese name for the folks who's following at home?
Go ahead,
which is going to
TSS.
be
What is the Japanese name, TSS?
the Japanese name
God.
of the Japanese name of the movie is Gekijoban Pocket Monster Advance Generation. Nanayo no Negai Boshi Jirachi.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
That's a
Hey.
10 out of 10.
Wishing the or that is Pocket Monsters Advanced Generation, the theatrical presentation, wishing star of the Seven Knights.
All right.
All right. So,
And I'm gonna make the plot summary much shorter since there's more people this time.
that's cool. First thing I wanted to talk about, since this is our first Generation 3 film we're doing, we have a new cast to deal with. But I thought before the plot summary, just to give everyone's general opinions on the Ash, Brock, May, Max grouping, whether you like it, you don't like it, but keep this short because obviously we're going to get into it more. But I figure that's important because that kind of goes into the how people feel about the film, because this
Right.
is also May and Max's first film, and considering the film is primarily about Max, how you feel about that grouping is important. So, we're gonna start from my left to right. TSS, thoughts on the Generation 3 crew?
I liked it. I like them because those were the folks that got me back into Pokemon by watching the Japanese version. Masato is not annoying as many people, not annoying to me. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, he's annoying, this and that." I don't think so. Haruka is fine. I mean, when you have Kaori, a great singer in her own right, just the chemistry from them together. And I think the chemistry for all four of them. You just really felt the bond between them. Some people will say, "Oh, X and Y did it better." No, I say AG did it first and did it the best. That's it.
Okay, Richie.
I know a lot of people hamper on him as a meme, and to be quite honest, when he went during the Twitch marathon, I kind of was doing the same thing. But since we're not putting our answer in that direction, I don't think he's as annoying as people make it out to be. I guess I guess a lot of people were spoiled by how good Bonnie was in XY, that they look at Max and they're like, "What the fuck is this inferior little shit?" So, as far as the
But
group is
Max
concerned-
came out first.
yeah, well, I mean, there's called improvement, anyways. So,
Wow.
so in general, I like the group. I don't think there's that much problems with them. I mean, there are some things they could probably work on as far as maybe more Ash Max moments. But other than that, I don't think there's too much for me to point out that would seem that the group is terrible. I think it's a decent group. I mean, at that point, it's not. I don't think it's better than the OG squad, but that's just me. But overall, solid group.
Polly.
One of the reasons why I like this movie is because it was actually the first movie to have to really focus on a character other than Ash. Whereas we got a little bit with Misty and Pokemon 2000, and of course, in the others, it was more like a Pokemon that was like it was centered around like Mewtwo, Celebi, etc. But I thought it was kind of refreshing to have Max be the focus, and also May having her moments of. We'll get into this later, but so I feel like with the others, kind of Brock and Misty, sort of, they're just kind of left on the. Even Ash too. It's like they were all just kind of helping out, kind of like on autopilot, or it was Ash kind of taking the lead, and saving the world, which is fine. It's nostalgic, whatever, but. I don't know. That's one of the reasons why I like this movie and the dynamic in general between the four of them. But I have to say, since Brock technically is my favorite character, sometimes I feel like I wish he could have gotten more moments, especially in some of these movies where it's, but it was sacrificed for a good reason because May, it's nice to see her. It's nice to see another character alongside Ash get some good focus. And as far as their dynamic, I really, really like it. I thought I never would because, I love the OG trio so much, but rewatching Advanced Generation recently, like the entirety of it, really made me, the dynamic between all four of them, it really grew on me. So.
Okay, and Tyrone, who... This will be fun.
I'm the devil's advocate. That's why.
Oh, no.
Because I gotta say, now I won't be as harsh as I was before, but I will be honest, brutally honest.
Spoilers.
Max is one of my least favorite traveling companions. I'm aware of that. I know, because I always have had a little thing with children, like small children being in a cast of anime, because they do small children
Age
things.
racism.
No, what?
Oh!
What? No, like it feels usually to me when children are in an anime, unless they're showing like major progression as much as so as the other characters, it feels kind of odd to me. I will say I do have the bias towards Bonnie because Bonnie had moments that legitimately affected the plot. I mean, hell, she saved Kalos thanks to having a relationship with Squishy or Pony-chan or whatever you want to call them, and X and Y. Yeah. So yeah, her bond with Zygarde literally saved everybody from getting killed by Lysander, and she killed Lysander technically. But so Bonnie I do hold at a high regards. Not as much. I'm not going to treat it as if Bonnie is vastly superior to Max, but one of the problems I have with younger siblings in Pokemon more per se is that we always run into that now this character doesn't have the luxury to be their own character anymore. Like May, once Max got introduced, it was more or less May and Max instead of just May or just Max. Like there had already been yeah, well, I always just like from what I see from the moments that I saw was like, oh well, Max is here because he's May's little sister, May's little brother, not in any sense where it's like, oh, May exists minus Max. Like in major contests she had, Max would interfere. Not openly, but it'd be like, oh, Max revealed that May is afraid of the certain Pokemon. Now that's used against her. Stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But Max overall as a character, one of the things I had was that he was so smart, which was fine. But it raised the question, well, why don't you have him be just a kid sometimes? He was really smart, which is good. But then it just felt like he was another exposition character, and that kind of pushed Brock back, because Brock knew a lot of stuff too. So it's like, what is Brock doing now? And then it's just like, oh, he cooks. But, okay, cool. But I won't say I hate the cast. I do like the cast because they work really well off of each other. May is my favorite, actually, out of this group. Oddly, not Ash, because at this point, I think I got kind of tired of Ash, and May was just a fresh face for me. That's like, true. I love May. To this day, May is one of my favorite traveling companions. And it's mostly because May just has so much personality. She's a female Ash to me, as far as I'm concerned.
That's funny considering people's opinions on Dawn, but it's neither here nor there.
Spoilers.
Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Anyway, because when Advanced Generation, the Advanced Series was introduced, we actually started off with May. We didn't start off with Ash. She was riding her bike. So part of me thought that the series was just going to be about her. Like, I thought Ash got axed. I didn't know that Ash was going to show up until, they showed the next episode. I was like, oh, there he is. But I was going to be fine with that. Like, I liked May. May had personality. From the moment that she got hit with water gun by the Mudkip, I laughed. I knew she was going to be a good character. So
yeah, but she appeared in AG1, so that's an invalid point.
No,
right, I'm just saying, but when AG1 started, we got May. It was her riding the bike. Like, that was the scene. So I was like, oh, is May going to be the new one? And then I see Ash, and I'm like, oh, yeah, well, there's Ash. I just saying, like, if they had to be May.
But the thing is, though, it's a continuation from Johto. It's like next time a new beginning, and that's the whole thing. It's like, that's one of the reasons.
But as a kid, I was like, as a kid, I just saw that May started it off, and I thought it was going to be about her. I thought Ash was just going to be mentioned, like, in passing, but I thought May was the focus. And like I said, I would have been fine with that because I like May. In fact, May's the reason I like this group. I love her personality. Mm-hmm. But that's how I feel about this group in general. I like May. She's the best part of it.
Okay. I kind of wanted to get all that out of the way first, and I guess just give my quick thoughts, because I lean in towards, I actually think the Advanced Generation crew is my favorite crew in general. Although I go back and forth between that and Best Wishes, but for me personally, I really like Ash and May's dynamic. I also think this is my favorite version of Ash, because I think Ash is the most mature here. I like his kind of teaching relationship he has with May in the beginning. Also like his brother relationship he has with Max in the beginning. And although I know people have their issues with Max, whether he gets on people's nerves or not, I do disagree with Tyrone that I think he does have his kid moments, and a lot of his immature moments actually comes out a lot when he's interacting with the sister. I enjoy the brother to sister dynamic. But one of the reasons why I wanted to get that out of the way first is because I knew we had varying opinions on it, and I don't want that to like bleed into the movie review. Although I feel like it might still happen regardless. But I wanted to get I'm trying to diffuse it as much as possible before we hit the fan. With all that being said, Tyrone, give me that plot summary, please.
All right.
Please deposit 25 cents for the next 4 minutes.
We don't have that kind of money, TSS.
Pokemon Jirachi Wishmaker. Okay, so Ash and the others arrive at this area where the event known as the Millennium Comet Festival is supposed to show up. When they show up, it's completely barren, so they go camp out for the night. But while they're camping out for the night, the Millennium Comet Festival is opening up. They see that two characters, Diane and Butler, show up. Butler's basically this magician. Diane is his assistant, and they actually do a show later on that day. The Millennium Comet Festival is basically supposed to last 7 days. May ends up getting a wish maker that she folds every time each of the days pass up. She feels like her wish will be granted if she folds it all 7 of the 7 days. While they're going to the magic show to see Butler and Diane, Butler and Diane are holding this rock. It speaks to Max. Because it speaks to Max, apparently the Comet Rock is supposed to be a special Comet Rock that's said to hold Jirachi. Jirachi opens herself up to the person that is destined to be her best friend. In this case, it's Max. Yep. When it hurt. The voice was a girl, so my brain went to girl. Anyway, when that happens, though, Jirachi ends up introducing itself to everybody else, and it grows a quick bond with Max. The two have fun, shenanigans ensue. Max wishes for snacks, tons of snacks show up. May has a joke where she says get rid of the problem, and she ends up getting disappeared. I like that scene. Meanwhile, we learn that Butler actually has evil intentions. He signed up with Team Magma, which I think this is the first and only time where another team other than Team Rocket is involved openly in a movie plot. Anyway, he makes a deal with Team Magma to get Groudon, but in order to do that, he needs to get Jirachi, obviously. So one of the plans that they have to do, though, is Diane drives them off to this area known as, what was the area called again?
Fawns.
Farina?
Yeah, Farina.
Yeah, Farina. Yeah, I think he's saying the Japan name.
Yeah. It's Fonz
he's
in
saying the
Japanese.
Japan end. Yeah, in Japan he's saying
We're
the
gonna
Japanese
be
end.
having a lot of that, folks. There's gonna be a
Yeah,
lot
so
of
yeah, they gotta get Jirachi to Farina, and what I think is one of the coolest montages ever to happen in Pokemon, though. While they're traveling, May is folding down each of the days as they pass. Max gets irritated because he knows that his time with Jirachi is limited. Once they get there, though, they get several foreshadowings from like Absol and several things like that. Once they finally get there, Butler attempts to steal Jirachi again. He almost gets there. Chaos ensues. A fake Groudon shows up. Thanks to Flygon and Absol, they end up fighting it off with Jirachi. Jirachi does its secret powers. Now takes out the fake Groudon. And Diane and Butler decide to spend life there at Farina in order to live by nature. May forgets to make her a wish, but she's like, it doesn't matter. So long as you have dreams and you pursue them, then you can always make your wishes come true. They look off into the sunset. Max looks off and hears Jirachi call out to him. Movie over.
Okay, now for those who are curious, that seems really abridged. Well, it is. That's the whole point. The reason why you're watching this video is because more than likely you've already watched the film. Because we usually spoil.
And if you don't, I'm sorry.
Yeah. See, look, there's your apology.
I had to shorten it, guys. Yeah, I really had to shorten it because there's more people here this time.
Yeah. We're going to try to do this a little bit more structured because the last two reviews, it was just me, Tyrone, and Richie, so we can kind of do off-the-cuff conversations. Here, especially with TSS here, this will get very loud and very long really quickly, and some of you may not have the time for that.
He's very detailed.
We appreciate TSS.
That's what he's very detailed.
But some days, only every once in a while, every 1,000 years maybe.
1,000 years.
We gotta reel him back every once in a while.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hey, at least it's not an Evanescence song, right?
oh, that's
Oh, que la chingada.
We got TSS here. So as far as I'm concerned, we got super accuracy.
Oh God. Anyways, so the first question I'm gonna start off is, do you like the film? Yes or no? Maybe like a quick reason why you do or don't like the film. TSS.
Yes, I do. And the reason being is the way that it's structured. I think it's well timed, and also this is the shortest film of the Advanced Generation series, because of the fact that this was the last one for a long time to have until like movie 15 to have a short associated with it. So this movie only clocks in at about 1 hour and 21 minutes. So it's really well paced. I don't think there really is a dull moment in the movie. I think in pace wise, it was great. The character development, when you have Masato coming in and you have it focused on him, it's kind of a breath of fresh air considering that the last 5 were Satoshi focused. But also it's the BGM. Miyazaki did his magic. Kaori doing the I don't know now somebody can confirm with me for this. Now in the movie, in the Japanese version, Kaori does the Chisaki Mono lose, right? What do they do in the English version for that? Because I have never watched the dub of movie 6.
I think she hums it. She just kind of like she does hum Chisaki Mono, but
the lullaby?
Yes.
She just does like a do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is it Veronica's voice or is it Kaori's voice?
It's Veronica's. It's Veronica's.
Veronica's voice, yeah. Because I figured that. I figured
That's
that.
what I love about May, because we get to see sides of Veronica we never got to see with Ash.
Well, yeah, because she's actually playing a girl this time,
right?
Which is cool.
Yeah, but overall, I think the way that the BGM flowed with the movie, the pacing of the movie. That's why it's not my absolute favorite, but it does rank with me to be like one of the best ones of the series. Okay. I just liked the whole motif of the area, and just the way that the story played out. Kind of like a double cross thing. It was really dynamic. It was really dynamic movie for its time.
Okay, Richie.
I definitely do agree that the movie is good. I feel like after the trend of the last 2 movies, which 4 was garbage, number 5 was at least better than 4, but it not by a long shot. There are still some troubles and stuff. So I saw Jirachi. I thought first of all, it's the start of a new generation, so that means expectations are probably going to be a little bit high as per usual. Because I don't know, it seems like to me that at the beginning of every generation, there's always this a lot of expectations, and as the series goes on, it starts to either go up or low, depending on which series it is. But anyways, so I do like the Jirachi movie. I thought the animation wasn't so badly stitched together as per se, and I kind of do like the soundtrack as always. As far as where do I rank it,
We don't have to
who
go that
knows?
far. Yeah, we don't have to go that far.
Yeah, but I mean, I do like the music though. I definitely like the.
Oh, you were talking about.
I will talk about
music.
I will talk about the soundtrack a little bit later, but let's get.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but anyways, my general opinion is I liked it. I thought the characters had. Let me put it this way, because I'm not sure how to actually get to the point with this, but I thought the characters had a few more dimensions than usual. The one moment I did like about the movie, if I'm allowed to say, right? Am I good?
Yeah. I mean, it's a spoiler territory.
We're
We don't
reviewing
care.
it.
Yeah, we don't care.
Okay. Well, I'm just making sure because I thought we had such a...
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, well, anyways, I thought Ash's little moment where he was talking about how he misses a certain someone, which obviously is Misty.
Dub only.
I thought, dub only, by the way, which I
Dub
watched,
only,
so
yeah,
that's a good
because
thing.
Well,
yeah,
some
that
people
line is
choose
not
to
in there.
ignore that.
Right.
Let people have their moments. God damn it!
Oh, come on, man, Pokeship.
It's a nice callback. Leave it alone.
I'm not. Anyways, so I liked that moment. I thought that was kind of cute. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cute. And yeah, even though, like I said about Max, even though I do kind of give him shit just to kind of be joking around with it, I kind of do like him and Jirachi's attachment in the movie. I thought it was kind of typical, but I thought the way that they did it was the best that they could. Like, there's room for improvement, but I thought they did okay. But overall, I really liked the movie, and I thought it wasn't. It was a little bit better than 5, but not by much. But it's definitely better than 4. So,
Okay.
anyways, I enjoyed it.
Polly.
Everyone's kind of said everything, and I was also going to say the soundtrack, but I'll save that for later too. I like that this one was very simple, and I haven't seen a lot of the future ones, like let's say Genesect or a lot of black and white ones, a lot of the X and Y ones. Where it's like all these legendaries are kind of coming out of the woodwork, and I already know without seeing them that I probably might be overwhelmed. Not that I want to hate on anything. But this one, I liked how it was, first of all, very small cast. Got a lot of focus on the main group. Good focus on the villains, per se. Well, Diane's not really, But
she just unfortunately is working with the villain, yeah.
Yeah. And, like Richie was saying, I feel like in the previous movies, every, like the whatever Pokemon, like Mewtwo, Lugia, Celebi, like, they didn't really bond too much with, like, the main cast. Just maybe because they were just seen as some kind of, like, godlike being.
Behold me, I am legendary.
Yeah, whereas I feel like for Rocky, it was a lot, I don't know, it was a lot more personal, because this is, like, one of the first times, a legendary per se, or is it with Jirachi? I'm not good with mythical or legendary.
Yeah, we just go with legendary.
I think Jirachi and Celebi are mythical if you want to get technical.
Yeah, but
it's mythical.
We'll leave the technicals for TSS. We're good.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see like
shit.
someone in the group actually like connecting on a bit more personal level, rather than just this godlike creature saves the day, or we have to go help it, even though we don't really know much about it, So that's one thing I really liked. Again, it's also not one of my favorites, but it's very memorable for me. And I liked it.
Okay, Tyrone.
All right, so I did you guys a favor, and I moved my Max bias aside.
Well, you should have done that anyway.
Well, yeah, when watching this movie, I moved my dislike of Max aside for this and looked at it as just a movie. Now, the thing is, I do like this movie. And one of the things I really do like about this movie is that in most movies, our heroes are usually in one spot or limited to one spot. And if they ever do move, it's because they have to play fetch quests, like in Pokemon Movie 2000. This one, they're doing a quest, but it's a justifiable quest, and the route to get there actually feels like they're getting somewhere. Where it's like, oh, we're conveniently here because a plane crashed into. No, they're here because they actually legitimately went in the truck and went on a journey. It was cool. It was kind of cool to see Ash and the others on a road trip for once. So I like that. I like the. I do feel like this was a much more improved version of a trainer, well, a person and a Pokemon traveling together. Like, I know they did this with movie 4 with Celebi and Sam, but this is a lot better. And the reason that this is a lot better is because they actually have moments that they got to share together, and their time is limited. It's on a clock. And May is foreshadowing that by folding down the Wishmaker each time. That's what makes Max get worried. So when he throws a fit there, it's a justifiable fit. I get that. He doesn't want to lose his friend. It's like when you're hanging out with somebody for the weekend and Sunday shows the fuck up. Like, I get that. So Max was getting worried, and I liked that solidified the bond that he had with Jirachi. So I will say that works. The movie in itself does a really great job of actually prepping up the villain too, because Diane and Butler's relationship, Diane clearly is worried about Butler. She knows that he can do better. It's just he had to go towards this route in order to get what he wants, and that meant working with Team Magma. And yeah, that it sucks to see when somebody you care about has to do some shady stuff to get what they need to do. So I got the character development. Like, character development in this movie is what I'm going to praise it for the most.
Okay. And actually, I'll lean into that, and I would say something. I would say probably next to Molly, this is probably the best villain we've had since, at least within the first 6 films. Within the first 6 films, the only other film I think is either next to it or better is movie 3's villain, and that's it. And particularly, it's the same. It's almost for the same reasons, because they're villains, but not really in the traditional sense. Whereas Butler was kind of mocked for his, because he was trying to be respected for his research, and he was on the right track, and he got made fun of because his machine couldn't handle what he wanted to do. He kind of lost himself to it. But I like the fact that they mentioned like the little backstory with him and Diane about how they've been together since they were kids, and this whole Groudon business kind of just took over him for a while. And the fact that he was a magician first off, before he was a Team Magma scientist, because we see that because as kids he's doing magic tricks, so that's always been a part of his personality. I appreciate that. Also like the fact that a lot of the characters, I probably still say Brock is slighted, but Brock is almost slighted in every film he's in, unfortunately. But
it's a running joke at this point.
Yeah, it's a running joke that we ignore Brock. But I like that consistency with May and Max, how they still have that brother or sister relationship. And just because Max is the main focus of the film with Jirachi, you didn't just throw May and Ash out the window. They still have their moments, and they're still true to themselves like they are in the anime. So I really appreciate that level of focus and honing in detail for that. Like, I think this works really well as a character-driven film. That's probably the reason why I like it so much, because it's really good. So I agree with you entirely, Tyrone, on that. Yeah. Real quick, because I wanted to ask, since the line about the missing her a lot line isn't in the Japanese version, Tia says, could you tell me what he actually says during that conversation with Max, or just like a generalized version of it? Because I don't know what he originally says.
Well, the thing is, though, I was just listening, so I can't really say that at the moment. But I know for a fact that he did not say anything about missing somebody.
Okay.
I have it up actually right now.
Well, what is it, Polly?
All right.
Go ahead, Polly.
In the original dialogue, it said, Ash says to Max that 1,000 years for Jirachi and its comet could just be an instant, and it wouldn't be the same traveling with him. He remarks that he's not able to explain the thing very clearly.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because for because it goes as a piece of dialogue that was said earlier in the film, saying that I think it was Takashi that said it. That said for a comet, 1,000 years is just a moment. It's a very short period of time.
Goddamn. All right, so this is recorded. We have a moment in which TSS was out TSS. This is rare.
Oh my god!
This won't, as I said, this won't happen for another.
To be fair, Polly had it pulled up already.
No, listen. Listen. It's a joke, guys.
Thank you, Bulbapedia.
It's exactly. Just chill out.
But you see, that's
being resourceful. It's fine.
That's good. It's good because hey, that means that somebody can just be also the mouthpiece too.
Exactly. Now, the one thing I wanted to mention, because I find it a kind of interesting
because that's the last time in the review that will happen, because we're going to talk about the music and I'm going to just completely destroy you folks.
Not yet. It's coming, TSS, but not yet.
It's coming.
I got one other thing I want to mention before we get into the music.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So the one thing I thought was interesting about this film, especially coming off of movie 5, is that they went for a more subtle location. Considering the amount of effort and work they went into for Heroes' aesthetic, being in like a Vienna's type area, and the level of research, and that,
right.
and to be fair, a lot of us in the previous review, me, Tyrone, and Richie all praised. The movie looks great. Still looks
beautiful,
great.
yeah.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
So it's interesting that they went from that to essentially like an open field with a carnival in it, and then later on, kind of this canyon area with a bunch of rocks. And we gave movie 4 a bunch of shit because it was essentially in a forest that wasn't really redeeming in any way, other than it's a forest and it has that giant big tree entrance and the little tree houses. It wasn't that visually interesting. So I would say...
Yeah, I was about to point that out. It wasn't visually appealing,
well,
and it also didn't help. It also didn't help that the movie itself was kind of a shit fest.
Well, hey,
that's a different story.
Hey, listen, Richie.
Jesus, Richie.
Richie, you have a lot of aggression towards movie 4. We're gonna get back to that later. I want to just kind of ask, did that change off between it being highly detailed Venice to like kind of a more, I guess some way you could
this movie has a lot of dark scenes, and it's like a very dark movie.
Well, I know. I'm getting TSS. We're getting to it. I just want to see did it come off a little jarring going from one film to the other?
I wouldn't say so.
Can I?
Well, you were gonna go first anyway, Tyrone.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna go in reverse order.
When we discussed, when you, me, and I believe TSS, we all did, I think, mostly discussed about the movie's praise for its character development. And when I graduated in theater, one thing I did learn is that sometimes if the character development is powerful enough, then the environment itself doesn't become as much of a judging factor. Yeah, there's a focal point. Because I remember one time I did a play where literally it was me and 2 other people are in one room the whole time. The whole point of the play is that we're stuck in hell, and the hell was just that hotel lobby room that we were stuck in the whole time. The point is that our characters, our development, the roles that we play, were supposed to bring out the place. And the reason this works so well is, like I said before, this is the first time I've seen Ash and the others obviously do like a road trip situation. I've never seen them get into a truck and head from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. So I think the environment itself, we didn't mind too much because we knew, 1, they were going to move soon, and 2, they fully utilized their environment well because their character development was done so well. Like the moment where Ash and Max are skipping rocks, like they didn't need to skip rocks. It wasn't necessary. They could have had the conversation while they were in bed or something, but they didn't. They used their environment to their advantage. Whereas in movie 4, they're in a forest, but what the hell are they doing in the forest? Nothing. Right. The only time I ever see them react in the forest is when Ash and the others eat berries, and that's about it. Okay. Whereas here, they're utilizing their environment every time they stop somewhere. Like one time, I think they get stuck in the mud or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to get, and that's going to segue into a different section in just a moment.
So they're fully using what they've got this time. So it's not a fabulous city like Venice-like city like in movie 5, but at least they're using the environment to the point where we can fully believe that it's realistic and the
Right.
characters are taking advantage of it.
Right. And just I was gonna go through the rest of everyone else. Polly, do you think that the more, I don't want to say, I guess, down to earth kind of setting takes away at all from the film, or if anything, it adds to it?
I think well, here's the thing. Pokemon Heroes is actually my favorite Pokemon movie. And I'm a little bit biased. Maybe it's because I'm Italian and I enjoyed the whole Venice aesthetic. But I will say I really do agree with Tyrone that, like, because I know this isn't a Pokemon Heroes review. They weren't.
Well, I brought
really...
it up, so it's fine.
No, they. I feel like at the time they weren't even together though. Like Ash was on his own a lot.
Yeah, he was
trying to.
Yeah,
chase
Misty and Brock were gone.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the garden, like they didn't even Brock and Misty didn't even know about the garden until like I don't know, maybe a third way through the movie. So it's kind of, I feel like it's hard to compare because also I don't think it was as jarring because it was kind of to be expected that, like, since we did start this new generation, it's going to be completely different no matter what setting it was in. But I, as far as the character development thing goes, I definitely agree with Tyrone that as long as they're doing something and it like drives the story forward, I appreciate that a lot more. But I will say, in terms of the aesthetic, maybe not. Although I did really love the opening sequence here with the carnival.
Yeah.
And I'm going on all the rides. That was some cool, because I'm always a sucker for world building too. I like seeing like the Zigzagoon bumper car, or there's a Poliwhirl on the Ferris wheel. Yes, I saw it.
I know you were aware.
You tweeted it, yeah.
And also, go ahead.
I think Ash was on like a Linoon roller coaster or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this was the first. Also, butting in here, this is also the first movie that doesn't use an opening theme.
Well, I think it's
man.
It is the first one that it doesn't have like a real action scene. Like most of the other movies.
Well, no, like actual song, like an actual vocal song.
Oh, you mean
music?
Okay, you mean OST wise,
yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of awkward if they started off with like a kid from Pallet Town.
Well, that is also just very non-traditional anyway. Because most of the other films, if they didn't start off with like a Pokemon battle, it was usually like some sort of action scene, like it was in movie 5 with the race. Like this is the only film that starts off. Oh yeah, they're sleeping, and here comes the circus. It's just rolling in, and it's almost it's kind of like a weird juxtaposition because you're not used to it being the beginning of a film being that kind of low key. Like it's always starting off with a song, usually a remix. Well, in English, usually a remix of the opening or something, or just a straight up new song in general. And here it's like, I'm being woken up by the beautiful lights of the carnival that's coming to town.
Well, to be fair, it's not one of the 5 movie versions of Mesasi Pokemon Master.
Hey, listen. We're gonna get to it next session. You will start it off, all right? I promise you. But before we do that, real quick, Richie, any thoughts on the environment in this movie compared to the other films? Did it take away? Did it add any of that?
As far as adding on to my opinion, I mean, it sort of did. I mean, I get what you were saying earlier about it somewhat being essentially the same thing as far as movie 4, in terms of it just being one setting as opposed to multiple. But like I said, and I'll say this in a more friendlier way, but I think movie 6, in terms of viewing experience, was a little bit better than movie 4's, which is why I don't think the setting here is such a big deal. Yeah, it doesn't matter as much because if other parts in the movie are good, then I don't think people really look at the setting as much. Because I think what I noticed about movie 4 is that we were shitting on the setting because the other parts of the movie were just kind of not as good.
So pretty much Movie 6 makes up for its somewhat lower tiered.
Bingo, that's what it is. But other than that, it did kind of add on to my overall opinion, but not as much because there's other parts in the movie that were good, which is why my sending opinion isn't as, I didn't put too much beans into that basket. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, because my thought process, the only reason why I brought it up is because ironically this, and actually the next film, now that I think about it, movie 7, has a very extravagant setting, considering, but it's like, hey, listen, we'll get to it when we get to it. I'm just saying, movie 7 also has a very extravagant
You could also throw it in the garbage too, but
well, hey, listen, chill
Oh,
out, guys. we have, listen, we're gonna address it later, next time.
we're coming for you, Deoxys.
Hey,
damn
stop
it.
it! All I'm saying is that it's something that stuck out to me because I was like, man, this doesn't really pop out to the eye as much. But I didn't notice that there was a lot more focus on the characters anyway, so it didn't bother me as much. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say my piece about the music because I don't have a lot to say, and I know TSS will have a lot to say. I am fine with the soundtrack. I didn't really, I'm kind of indifferent to it, to be honest with you.
It's the bomb.
I liked it, but I wasn't like, oh my god, my favorite soundtrack kind of thing. It was just okay. Also because I don't know all the intricacies, and I don't know how different the English version of the songs is to the
It's
Japanese.
the bomb.
Also, I think we don't know how limited Poli's time is, so I'm gonna let her go next, and then I'll let TSS go on his little tangent. Did you want to talk about the music at all, Poli?
Sure. I really like the soundtrack, and I think if I am correct in this, this is one of the most heavily used soundtracks in a lot. Like, I would say Diamond and Pearl uses this a lot. There's the jazzy theme. I forget what it's called. It's when Butler is doing the magic show.
It's called It's called Magic Show. That's the
okay.
title. That's the track
actually one of my favorite pieces of OST in the whole series. I don't know. I just like the jazzy sort of, and it appears a lot in Diamond Pearl. And the only thing I don't like is a lot of the tracks from this one are unreleased, and some of them, like I think called Groudon Attacks the Group. That was a great track, and it was used in May and Drew's final battle in the Kanto Grand Festival. I had a friend ask me once where it was from, and then I realized it was unreleased. So that's the only thing that's kind of sad, is that there are a few unreleased tracks with this one. Like, it's not, I guess we get that with every movie, but
yeah, but it's not as bad as movie 4 or 5, where you have tons of stuff that's unreleased.
Yeah, you would know that better than I do. And of course, Chisaki Mono is beautiful. Fun fact, actually. So I'm not to ramble, but I'm a big fan of the Love Live series, and one of the voice actresses, actually, she participated in a lot of folk. Like, she sings a lot of folk music, and also she's performed in a lot, I guess, like the Japanese equivalent to The Voice or American Idol or whatever. And she actually did Chisaki Mono as one of her like final songs, and I think she wound up winning. So I thought that was awesome, as to how popular it is.
It's definitely a great track.
Yeah. So that's my little tangent.
That wasn't even that bad. Come on. she made it seem like it's like, man, I just went off the rails.
Man, I love idols. No.
You're fine. Tyrone, Richie, I don't know how much of the OST conversation you have. Do you have?
I don't have a lot.
Okay, go for it, because I already know how to.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I like the soundtrack, and it's mostly for one song.
Yeah.
I know, it's the montage of them traveling, because I did not expect the English version to actually use the Japanese instrumental, and that was fun. I like that. I like how they're just traveling from one spot to another, and they're playing Advanced Adventure in instrumental, and I love Advanced Adventure instrumental, the guitar and everything. I love it. It's a great
There's a little
version
footnote
of
to that in
that
just a
song.
second.
Yeah, I love that though. I love when they use it when like they're winning battles and stuff like that. I think it's one of the best soundtracks to show that a character is doing something great. So yeah, but that's that's the main part I like is that montage makes the journey all the worth it. When they're doing the montage, that song is what highlights it. It's the reason I remember the montage so well.
Yeah, I'm surprised how much you focused on the montage, considering.
Well, like I said, it's the first time I've ever seen Ash and the others be like, "Let's go, guys!" and they're just hopping in a truck and going from one spot to the next, and they're just chilling. They're just like either they're eating food or they were like doing the rock skipping thing. Something was happening each time. It felt like when they were on the journey, it was justifiable. They could have easily just said, "We're there," but they didn't.
True. All right,
I like
Richie.
little moments like that too. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Richie, go ahead. Do you have any thoughts or opinions?
Like I said, Pokemon music is always good. I don't think there's
Good
ever
man.
I don't think there's ever one soundtrack that's really that terrible, because there's always going to be like a good amount of tracks that are considered, God tier, great, medium, or whatever. Or you could say bad or good, bad or terrible, depends on how you look at it. But as far
I'm
as this
hearing a
movie,
Lumen voice in the background.
yep, it's
CSS will get his
God damn
turn.
it.
Well, that's what I left him for last because I knew what was about to happen.
All right, but anyways, I really did like the ending song for the Japanese version, by the way. Before I go on, the ending song for this movie, I thought it was probably for someone that's not very familiar with a lot of the Japanese songs. I thought this one was at least well done. I really enjoyed it. So, as far as it's just a general opinion, I thought the soundtrack was good, at least to me. It was enjoyable to hear for both the dub and the Japanese. Because for the Japanese, I did listen to some of the tracks, and when I was watching the movie, obviously I was watching in dub, so it was good. It was all right.
CSS, have at it.
Okay, so number one, Tyrone is actually wrong because the biggest issue
Yikes.
because the biggest issue is that people get now most people would call this Heroes of Hoenn, but the problem is that's not the track. The Advanced Adventure instrumental that you see on movie 6's soundtrack is actually a different instrumentation than the one used in the series. Because because that one was made after the one that was created for the series, because the Advanced Adventure instrumental that's on the original series is located on the 1997 to 2010 soundtrack best volume 2 as track 54, which is AG 2000, I think it's 2002 to 2005 M40. This is a different one. This is a completely different one, because that one is 1 minute and 52 seconds. And the one featured in the movie is, I believe, 1 minute and 35, if I remember correctly. But it's 1 minute and 32, because that's the 127 actually. And it's a different orchestration. It's actually more horn. The horns are more prominent. Also, the bass is more prominent. It makes it sound more pompous, but I actually prefer the Miyazaki arrangement for the TV series better. Also, one track. I mean, Poli mentioned the Magic Show one. One that actually doesn't get talked about a lot, and it was only in the short, but it's a great song anyway, is the first Kaori track that she did for the series, which is Boken no Hajimari da, which is the ending theme for the movie 6 short. And that's a really good song. You guys should listen to that. Chisaki Mono, very powerful song, one of my favorite songs in the entire franchise, one of the best ending songs to ever come out of the Pokemon movies. And we mentioned earlier, but not on the recording, that this is the only Japanese song that 4Kids actually kept in terms of the endings.
Yeah.
Because usually what happens is the 4Kids or TPCI, they make their own thing. But for this one, they decided, okay, we're going to use Asuka Hayashi's vocals along with new recorded vocals. I forget the vocalist at the moment. But they did a really good job, and a lot of people love the song. I still love it. It's still one of the best that they've ever created. As for the soundtrack itself, it's a slight downgrade from movie 5, because I consider that movie 5 was the last really good soundtrack that Miyazaki made. but there are great tracks. And also another track that you guys should listen to off that album is the acoustic version of Advanced Adventure, which never freaking got into the movie. I guess it maybe was in the cutting room floor or something, or it was going to be meant to be used as another thing. But Garden does an acoustic version of Advanced Adventure, and it's a beautiful rendition. And for that, it's really cool. And and there's really no bad track. There's really no bad track on this soundtrack. It's just that it has less vocal tracks, less vocal songs than on like movie 5. Because, like I said, as we mentioned earlier, this was the first movie that didn't have a opening song. Because you don't have like 4 different versions of Masashi Pokemon Master or something like that, or a remix or whatnot. But overall, nice soundtrack. You should definitely listen to it.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Okay. I think, Paul, do you have to go yet or no?
I'm not yet.
Okay. Well then, the next thing I want to get into, and I think we've already kind of all touched on it a little bit, but I think it's something.
Tyrone, yeah, that's the version of AA that was used for the.
Actually, that's just fine. I might put that music in the background of this video if ShowPro doesn't kill me. We'll see what happens.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
I literally just got the first movie review. I literally just got the first movie review I did back from Content ID.
Oh yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, so finally, all the first movie review that we did is finally up again because ShowPro wanted to be dicks about pictures. The one thing
but Tyrone, the acoustic one is the one that I'm talking about, acoustic version.
Yeah, okay.
The thing I wanted to mention next was favorite moments. I'm going to limit this to one or probably about 2. I'll be 2 to be fair. Everyone just mention your 2 favorite moments from the film, and I'll go first just to get mine out of the way. Also, because I feel like there's going to be some overlap.
And why is somebody calling me? Well, screw them. That is actually my doctor's office. I need to actually answer this.
Just mute it. Fine. Go ahead.
All right, so who's going first? Polly says she's on time.
I'll go first, and then I'll let Polly go second, and then Tyrone and Richie. My 2 favorite moments is probably, I still love, I love that the May, it's a subtle moment, but I enjoy the moment where May's like, you need to go to sleep, Max, because you don't want to be sleeping for your next day, your big day tomorrow. And his response was like, I hate it when you say things smarter than me, or something along those lines. And then it's a cute moment, and then he's talking to Jirachi, and he's like, when she goes to sleep, we'll get back up and play. And then immediately after, May sings the song, and he's just out. And I think it's a really cute brother-sister moment where it shows the dynamic between the two, where even though she's the older sister and they argue, she still kind of acts like the mom. Actually, I think he even says at the beginning of the film, when she first sings the song, I think he whispers like "mommy" or something when he's laying there sleeping.
Yes, mama.
Yeah, and it's a really nice sequence. I really appreciate that. The second sequence is probably, I want to say probably the Max and Ash conversation. Ignoring the whole Misty stuff, which I'm perfectly cool with the reference. I know some people are like, it's not canon, we don't address it. I address it in my canon. My head canon it's canon because it doesn't hurt anything. I like that because it's a good example of what happens in Generation 3 in the show anyway, that Ash acts like an older brother to Max, kind of like pretty much appealing to Max in a way that May can't because she's a girl and his older sister. He can kind of connect with him also because he's had those experiences. This is the version of wise older Ash who's had some of these experiences, so he can relate and give Max advice on things he doesn't necessarily understand yet. Those are my 2 favorite moments personally. Polly, go.
Okay. So like I was saying before, I kind of like all the little slice of life isn't the term. The like mundane when they're at the carnival or the magic show. Just like Rock trying to flirt with the girl in the bumper car that she like bumps and he like falls off the thing. And I also enjoyed that conversation too for the same reasons. Also because I'm trash, because I love poke shipping. I know. I really also like the scene with Ash and Max riding on Flygon. Also because I like the music. I thought that was a really cool scene. Plus, Flygon is known. I mean, probably like I think one of the most popular Gen 3 Pokemon to begin with.
Oh,
So
he's my favorite dragon type, personally.
yeah. So I think that this I think was this even the first time we've seen Flygon at all, like in
I
the
think
anime?
so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I always
Flygon,
think
ironically
Flygon-
enough, is the less popular between him and
Yeah,
Salamence.
I always thought Flygon was like the forgotten dragon hero that we need.
mhm.
Yeah, pretty much.
That we don't
Which is
deserve.
why I was so happy that he got his moment in the film. Ironically enough, this film has a lot of non-legendaries in here. Like Absol's a good example because
Yeah.
I'm surprised
yeah.
nobody has talked about yet.
I forgot about that. Well, not forgot. I just
He's not really
Yeah.
addressed as much for some reason, which is weird because I think he fits pretty well.
He's mostly just foreshadow, isn't he? He's literally foreshadow the Pokemon.
Well, yeah, but I like the fact that they called that was something you didn't even need to add into the film, and the fact that it's there is just kind of a cool nod to him, to the Pokemon itself. But sorry, I'm going into a tangent again.
no, it's fine. That's really all I had.
Okay, Tyrone.
I like well, most of the moments I like are with May because this is her first movie debut. One of them I like is when she has Torchic fight Absol for a bit.
Yeah.
And Torchic's Ember is not enough. And then Ash comes in with Pikachu and it is enough and knocks Absol back. I like that because it shows how much May needs to grow in order to get on Ash's level. Especially if you know how the advanced series ends with them, tying in that contest. But
That's
here it just
spoilers,
shows-
man. It's spoilers.
Come on, man.
It's been almost 10 years. Watch it. But
I don't give a fuck.
it's just like it just shows even if you haven't watched it at that point, it shows a level of growth that May needs to get to, and it shows that she's trying. She didn't just sit back and do nothing. She didn't get scared. She did take charge and try to fight. Her and Torchic aren't strong enough yet. The other moment I like is when I think I made this joke. I talked about this joke earlier in the summary, but they got all the candy in the truck, and May's like, "You need to get rid of the problem." Jirachi's like, "Okay, I'll get rid of the problem," and May's the problem, so she gets teleported because she's the problem.
Also, side note, he didn't even really get rid of her. All he did was flip her upside down and stick her in the candy. She's still there. So it's like, is that what you think getting rid of the problem is? I'm gonna just shove you into a
Just
pile of
shoving,
candy.
because that's how a kid would handle the problem.
I actually also like that scene because it's like you see Ash as this mentor, but then also he's like looking at all the candy like really excitedly, like they like dive up from like the giant pile of it. He's like, "Well, I want to make a wish next," and I always wondered what he was gonna wish for.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that kind of gets into the subplot with May, how we don't ever know what her wish is,
yeah.
which kind of bothered me because in certain sequences it looked like she was struggling with it during the road trip, but we never really, since we don't know what it is, it was kind of like a gray spot that never really got addressed, and it kind of bummed me out personally. But that's besides the point. Anyways, Tyrone, was those your two moments, or
Yeah, those were it.
okay? Richie.
I do agree because I was actually going to mention two of the moments that already been mentioned. So
Yeah,
I
I
apologize
figured
for
we're gonna
that.
have overlap.
I apologize for being unoriginal, but I'll try my best to say something more different. Anyways, so I thought, actually, you know what? Fuck it. I thought, actually, you know what? I think number one. I think number one for me is the farewell from Jirachi to Max, because obviously when I was watching it at a younger age, that actually kind of got me a little bit.
Now, when you say that,
Aw.
do you mean the sequence in which they sing him to sleep, or after that when Max calls his name one more time and says, "I'll never forget you"?
I think the entire thing in general.
Oh yeah,
to be
because
quite
the whole
honest.
thing fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah, the entire thing was actually was a little sad moment. Even when I was watching it now, which years ago it hit me harder, but this time around I'm not saying it didn't, but obviously you have a little bit more restraint to it. But anyways, I thought the moment was sad in itself because it's a farewell to one of the many things in the movie that were good, especially how close Jirachi and Max gotten together, and one of his brightest moments, well, not moments, but spotlights as a character during the Advanced Generation saga. So yeah, that was a pretty sad recap. But and also second, obviously gotta go with the Ash and Max conversation, but not just because of the shippy moment in itself, but just because,
We're
as
gonna run
Polly
this into the
said,
ground, folks. We apologize.
yep, we apologize. I don't.
We apologize for the unavoidable delay.
I don't. Anyways, so
Damn.
but my point is that I do agree with Polly in the sense that it's like, or I think it was Terrell, either one of you two. But anyways,
It's probably both of us.
yeah, it was probably both of you. Anyways, but I kind of like the brother and brother relationship there because it's sort of like at Max's older brother that he never had. That's pretty much teaching him what he knows to him, because obviously at a young age you're not really going to know a whole lot, and it's always going to be great when you have a person like Ash who's been through a lot at that point as a character to kind of tell you that, hey, this is how it is. This is probably going to be you when you get to my point. So
When you get another 4 years older, you'll be ready. Because I forget how old Max is canonically.
I forgot as well. Maybe TSS knows.
Probably
Is he six?
6.
So in
That's
4
it.
years, you
I
get.
think 7.
Wow, I thought he was 8
Six.
for some reason.
No, it's
So young.
Oh, we're just guessing now. 6, 7, and 8. It's one of those numbers.
I'm back.
Alright,
Dog is.
Yeah, but anyways, I kind of did like that moment, not just because of the shipping moment, which honestly that's why I picked it, but after hearing the reasoning from both of you guys, I thought maybe that was a good moment to also include.
But you are
yeah,
a
I
shipping
definitely,
fan like everyone else. It's fine.
yeah, of course.
I mean, he does, yeah, and Ash doesn't even say the name or anything, and he doesn't say any canonical relationship. So I don't know why people freak out about that. He's not.
Well,
Hey, for all we know, he could be talking about Casey, the Electabuzz girl from Johto.
No.
Mm.
We know.
well, then
that.
again,
We
no,
all
her
know
Japanese
better.
name is Nanako, so
I miss Duplica, guys.
All right, so you better cut that shit out.
I like noticed God. He got flustered. He's like, well, anyway,
He
enough
kinda
about
got,
that.
he
Like,
got choked up on it. That's what I think a lot of people
Yeah.
like that. Although considering what actually is happening in the Japanese version, where you can't come up with the words, that now makes a lot more sense.
yeah.
But TSS favorite moments.
I have 3 of them that I want to talk
Oh
about.
shit!
Are they
Damn.
unique or are they
Three-
the same?
Well, actually, no. I mean, whatever. But what I want to talk about actually is the three moments when somebody mentions to me movie 6. These are the 3 defining moments that I think. First one is the intro, the title sequence when the carnival comes to town. That's number 1. The first 5 minutes of getting past the introductions. And,
Yeah, the beginning of the film.
Yeah, the credit roll into the first 5 minutes. That's number 1. Into the magic show. Number 2 is the adventure sequence, the AA, where they're going to Fawns. And number 3 would be the final climax, where Satoshi and Masato are riding Flygon, and then they're trying to avoid getting sucked into the Groudon.
It's like the majority of the film.
Yeah, but those are
In other
the
words, he
3.
likes the film.
I like. It's like, hey, and guess what? TSS. What? TSS likes the film. Well, you don't say.
I will. Well, can I
But
talk about
those
Wow.
3 specific,
Oh yeah, I know.
parts.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm just messing
Yeah.
around.
No, it's
So, oh yeah, and can I just point this out? In this one, when they do the World of Pokemon thing, don't they go in chronological order of the movies that happened prior to it?
yes, they do.
Oh, the one other thing I
Yeah.
wanted to mention is that the first time we see Brendan?
oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
see him during the Pokemon battle sequence. But I
Yes.
was like, is that the first canonical animated time we've seen him? Well, actually, I don't think we see him any other time, do we?
I want to say
No.
yes.
Well, we'll also consider this. If you wanted to put this to the Pokemon, the anime timeline, this happens around age 20 to 25.
I
so
figured
at
as
that
much
point-
considering the
so-
team.
Well, it's that, and also it came out once Pokédoka came out as an ending, which is around age 19. But because they usually bring a movie song or a movie song to promote as an ending.
For those who don't know,
uh,
AG it stands for Advanced
Advanced
Generation.
Advanced
Just
generation.
want to let
yeah.
people know, just in case.
Yeah. So, but basically, at that point, Masato's character was not developed much, and people will say, "Oh, it's it's this and that," and it's like this was needed to develop his character because he would not get another character like centric episode really until like later on. The AG-99, AG-100, the Tate Liza one.
Is that the
You know,
Ralts one?
Oh, and the curly. Oh, the Ralts.
No. Just before that one, the Ralts one was about 10 episodes later. We're talking about, it's around AG 104, 105. But I'm talking about the gym. Talking about the gym because when they go to the rockets, you know, the space center.
Yeah.
That was the next. That was the next chronological Masato centric kind of thing. Because even though it wasn't kind of, but it was kind of the next evolution, the next step in terms of episodes that hinted at, you know, character development. For me, I mean, you can count basically the one when they went back to Toka City and, you know, Fifth Gym and all that stuff, but that was around AG 69. But I'm talking about in terms of but that's what it is. Last episode for Advanced Adventure, by the way, AG 69. But basically, you know, we had from movie 6, we didn't have any development for Masato for like over a year afterwards, even past movie 7, you know, which we're gonna throw in the garbage anyway. But you know, because that movie took place around AG 80, but AG 85, AG 86. But anyway, so. But in terms of you know that's where it's placed in the anime canon. It's like the AG 20 period. So it's, you know, that this is what the generation needed to have Masato develop as a character, realistically. Right. So
okay, and to finish it off, we're gonna do what we usually do, which is our out of 10 rating. And I guess we can go into why, but the why is gonna be very redundant. But what would you give movie 10 out of? What would you give movie 6 out of 10?
Movie 6 out of 10.
Movie 10 had a great ending.
Hey, listen, chill out. Stop it.
Hey.
We're all comedians here.
Spoilers.
Stop it. Who do I want to say? I guess, you know what, Polly, why don't you start it off? What do you give movie 6 out of 10? That doesn't sound right.
I think I'm kind of between like a 6 and a 7. Not because like, you know, I think just more just because it's not my favorite, but I did think it was good, and I do enjoy it every time I watch it.
I guess actually, instead of doing what we normally do, which is talk about why we're giving it that, more so lean towards, because we didn't really talk about it, any negatives with the film you have that may have brought it down.
Yeah,
let's go for it.
So like, we'll give a number, and then what prevented us from giving it a perfect 10 if it's not a perfect 10. If it's 10, just say, hey, it's a 10. The movie was great.
Or why we didn't rank it higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, I don't know, maybe it's just because like I love, you know, I do love, like I don't hate a lot of things in Pokemon. I just have things that I kind of have that are my favorites, and then everything else I'm a little bit just indifferent to. So I'd say Advanced Generation, like as a whole, like I do love it, but it's not my go-to. And I think that's why I'm kind of slightly biased, but I guess I shouldn't be for this specific movie. But I think it's just kind of average for me. Like without, you know, I don't know. I don't really have any specific. Maybe because it is hard. I'm not gonna.
I guess I can throw in my 2 cents, because I don't. This is a weird film for me because I don't necessarily think it's bad, but like it's almost kind of like movie 5 to me in the sense that I like the film, but it's not like, oh my god, I love it. Kind of like it's kind of like, it's weird. It's one of those few films where I say there's nothing really inherently wrong with it. Unlike like movie 4 and 5 that suffer from some bad writing and plot issues with both of those films respectively. There's nothing really wrong with the plot. I like the way the characters interact. I like Jirachi for the most part. I guess maybe Jirachi might be a slight negative, but it wouldn't be enough to drop it. Because I'd probably give this about a 7 personally. It's just kind of fine. Like, I guess it's actually realistically the biggest problem with this film is that it doesn't, I guess because it doesn't feel like the complete package. Like, it has it's really good on the character front, but I don't necessarily care about the Groudon attack at the end. It doesn't make for the coolest action piece. It's okay. It's fine. I think that's probably the biggest issue. There's like a few. I probably say if you were grading each section of this film, there's like 1 or 2 S ranks, and then everything else is like a B, a C or higher. And so it turns out to being, it kind of just averages out to being, oh yeah, it's fine. And I think maybe that's it. It doesn't have enough standout parts for me. Because, like, when I say I love movie 3, I love, like, everything about movie 3. But, like, movie 6, it's like, I really like certain parts of movie 6, but not everything about movie 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of okay with everything else. Because nothing is bad. I guess that's the thing. And just because nothing is bad doesn't mean it's amazing. It just means it's okay. So that's why it gets a 7. Because it's an okay film. So, Tyrone?
I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 6. And
it's crazy. It's crazy how much praise we get in this film, and it's getting like average ass scores.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 6 only because, like, I praise this movie for character. Like, the 6 is gained mostly from character development, and I think that drives into a little what we're talking about, where a lot of the other elements about it sort of fall flat. It's the characters that are in the movie, the small cast, and things like that make the there is what as well as it is. I think one of the things to me that holds it back is just like there are some all of a sudden situations like Flygon. I like Flygon's scene, but why is Flygon?
Yeah.
It just shows up. Like, all right, cool. Why not? The Absol one I got because Absol was showing up continuously during the movie. He like I said, he is Foreshadow the Pokemon. But the rest of it this movie had to do something big, and I don't think it did. I think it was trying to play it safe because we have a new cast. So they didn't try to do some extravagant stuff because they knew they were like, all right, if we play it safe and just make Max the main character and have him get along with Jirachi, it's nice, it's cute, it'll be safe. No one will hate it, but it's not going to be something that blows your mind. Like, oh my God, did you see the time that Ash battled off against? No, they didn't have to do that this time around because they were just playing it safe. So I say this movie is the epitome of playing it safe. They didn't try to do any big things. Like, even the Groudon itself wasn't a real Groudon. It was a fake one. And I guess they did that because they figure if they ever use Groudon in anything real, then it has to be worth Groudon's time. And let's be honest, was this worth Groudon's time?
No.
Was it really?
No.
Hell no.
Hell no,
Right.
dude.
So I just think it was like, I think there's nothing inherently wrong with the movie, like you said, Terrell. I think the movie was just trying to play it safe because this is AG's first movie. Then they're gonna push better for better. That's where other movies come in.
Yeah, but it's gonna take a long freaking time.
It's gonna take
I
a
don't-
bit.
I don't know.
No. Let's be
It's gonna
fair.
take
It
a
only
bit,
takes.
but they get somewhere.
No, it
I don't know
only
if
takes
next
them
movie's
one
gonna do
other.
that.
It only takes them one more film.
Ah.
Because after movie 7, you tell me that's Lucario
Okay,
Mystery
yeah,
Movie.
yeah, we got 8. I'm saying 8
I'm about
is
to say,
good.
yeah,
Thank
So-
God for 8.
Yeah, I would say don't look down on 8.
But we'll
all right?
talk about 8. We'll talk about 8 when we get there.
Eight is awesome, and we're gonna.
Okay,
talk
that's
about
all I'm
that
saying.
Yeah,
Don't say it's
we'll
gonna
get
take
to
a
8.
while. It took.
It-
It's only. You
I
gotta
mean,
go
well,
through-
if you're
Well,
yeah,
1 year. Well,
think
1 year
about it.
feels like forever.
yeah, I would say, well, if you're thinking about TSS is kind of right because like let's see how long it took to get from 6 to 8 though. You have to sit through 7 first of all. So yeah, it takes a bit, but once we get to where we're getting, I think they just had to get comfortable with the cast, and I think that's why they had to play it safe. But that's my thoughts.
Okay, Richie, because I feel like TSS is gonna have some words.
Oh, please. Okay. Well, anyways,
God. he's like TSS ain't got shit on me.
Trying to blow your ass with the snow Zamboni again.
Oh no, Richie, go before you die.
shit, I had to look outside my window for that. Anyways, so God, PTSD. Anyways, so I'm gonna steal Terrell's idea as far as before I give off the
Why
main
am I getting
score.
robbed tonight? The fuck is going on?
I feel like a score breakdown would be a little bit better, and I'll actually before I even do that, let me explain the negative reasoning. This one isn't very negative, but I do agree with Tyrone that it is playing it safe, so it doesn't offer a whole lot. And this used to be my negative until he brought it up, which was this really worth Groundhog Sun? Because back when I was younger, I didn't like the fact that I saw Groundhog on the poster. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna see fucking Groundhog. And then I see the movie and I see a fake Groundhog. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And now I'm like, well, it makes sense because if a legendary Pokemon is gonna be in the movie, it has to be worth the time. And looking at the movie, I don't think it probably would have. And I mean, the cameo at the beginning is nice because obviously they do show off the movies, and then they show off a little bit of the Hoenn legendaries, which was nice. But I don't know. I think the one thing they could improve on was maybe the story in itself, which for that one I would give like a 6 out of 10. That's what I'll give as far as the story. Animation is good. I give that not a perfect score, but I give it a 7.
Do you think
characters?
Do you think movie 5's animation is better
Compared to who?
to 6?
Oh,
I'm just curious.
Movie 5. I think they're about as equal.
Okay.
I mean, there's some bright moments that both these movies had. I don't think they have like a edge over the other. And even if one of them did, I don't think it would have been by that much.
Okay.
Anyways, so 7 out of 10 for the animation. The sound, what I mean by that is soundtrack, basically.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah. Well, for the confused viewers at home.
I like the way Ash steps on the grass when we. I like the
sound of the wind. I like the sound of the rubble.
Listen to that crunch, Brock.
Listen to that hot.
I'm more of a Hershey's Kisses guy myself.
Whoa.
This is the balloons inflate.
Some people.
All right. So, anyways, for the soundtrack, I'm debating on either a 7 or an 8, but I'm kind of picky about that. But I think I'll just go with.
Richie ranks everything.
Richie just wanted to outdo everybody. We're sitting there like, yeah, overall 7. Yeah, overall 6. Well, listen. First off, you have to calculate the story. Then you have to add in the character. Then we got to take a look at the animation, everybody.
TSS Junior, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, I think I'll just go with a 7. I might
make sure you get on the wrong fucking bus the next time you go on.
Damn.
Oh,
God! I'm not Tyrone though.
Oh shit!
Some people don't get the reference. Chill out.
We'll
explain after.
Why do I gotta get it tagged? I didn't do this.
We'll explain after the call. We'll explain after.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you viewers don't get to hear it. Anyways, so 7
Sucks
for
to
the
be
soundtrack.
you. Sorry about that.
7 out of 10.
So 7.
So for characters, I would say 8 out of 10, just because like it's the first movie. I did like the way that the group interacted with one another, especially the Ash and Max conversation.
The Max.
Axe the Max.
It's like you bought like the cheap Chinese body spray and.
I miss Max every day. Axe body spray.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
Yeah, but it's XE because you bought the stuff from Chinatown.
Chill out, guys.
So 8 out of 10, just because the way the group was interacting with one another, especially Ash and Max. I thought the conversation was a great potential big brother moment, and I say potential just because obviously they're not related to one another. And Max and Jirachi's relationship in the movie, I thought was in terms of characters, I think that was probably the best one. Like as far as character interaction, I thought the relationship between both was great. Obviously, it wasn't anything special. It was just your typical, the kid gets to know the legendary Pokemon, they bond together, then they say goodbye at the end. They have a little sad moment. But even with that, it was still a treat to watch. Now, the overall, I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this one an 8. Around movie 4, I sincerely thought I was gonna shit on this movie. I don't know why, but I thought I was gonna probably give it like a 5 or a 6.
As well, that's probably why.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I haven't watched 6 in a while.
half the memory. That's why. Yeah, but basically 8 out of 10. I thought it's not the best, obviously, but It's still
It ages well.
It ages well. It's still a
Kind of like
pretty
movie
good
3,
movie.
actually.
Yeah, it's still a
it
pretty good
ages
movie.
really well.
Pretty good movie. Great character interactions. The environment, yeah, you could say it could change a little bit as to moving forward, but when you have other great things in the movie or good things in the movie, I don't think the saying is that much of an issue as long as the execution in other areas are good. So overall, 8 out of 10. If you haven't seen the movie or if you want to catch up on it, I recommend it. It's a good one.
All right, and TSS to finish this off.
Okay, so I'm going to give you my total rating first, and then I'll go in an explanation. I will give this movie an 8.75. Now,
Woo!
You son of a
We
bitch.
went technical.
Son of a bitch, I knew it! I knew it!
Those were motherfucking decimals he just used on your
I'm
ass.
surprised he only went 2 decimal spaces. I thought it was going to be like 5 and 6.
what do you want me to do? 8 followed by 15 digits of pi? Like,
All right,
All right, just
Okay.
go. Just go.
But okay.
Turn it.
Just as a little thing. Just as a little thing. I rib on
Turn
these
it
guys
to
all
a
apart.
fraction.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not here to freaking shit on people all the time. I rib these people all the time, so it's all cool. So anyway, getting to the movie, I thought the way that they, I would consider, movie 6, I will have, if anybody asks me to watch this movie, I will not hesitate to watch it because it really does age well. I only dock it about 1.2, 1.25 points because of
Oh no.
the reasoning is I didn't like the assery that Butler was towards the end of the movie, towards the climax of the movie, and I really didn't. That was the kind of the jackass moment. I just didn't like that. Also, the Grodin scene was pretty good. I did like the effects. Having all of those vines come out and absorb all the Pokemon and absorb the rockets and absorb. By the way, Team Rocket does almost nothing. They just get destroyed in like first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What else is new? But it's like, well, I think the other parts of the film mesh together. But if I had to, if I had to change anything, those would be the two. The Butler's character at the climax of the film, and then maybe something to do with the Groudon. Maybe they could have done something more with it.
When you just to clarify, when you say Butler's character, you're talking about his sudden switch.
Yeah, the double cross, and I don't like that because they kind of hinted it when he went on when he kind of got the machine set up under the tent, but the way that he double crossed everybody, I really didn't like the way that they it's like it was a hard jarring turn that I didn't really like.
I will, while you're talking about, I do want to mention a
Sure.
really dumb scene that I don't understand the point of.
Okay.
It's when they're first running away from him and they get in the van and they drive off, and Mayena comes by with the tracker and places it on the back of the van, and then it falls off. What is the point of that sequence?
Yeah, I don't even know. I think the problem was they had it on the storyboards and it's like, okay, we don't know
Two
what the
writers
fuck.
conflicting, yeah.
Well, I think it was just that in the planning phase they were probably going to figure out something, but then maybe they ran out of time.
Yeah,
maybe they had to cut things out.
It's not like I'm surprised that he beat them there. It's more I'm confused. Like, well, he probably already knew where they were going because that's the only place they could go.
Well, I would
that's why I
expect
said the
them
tracker to me in general was like, why even bother?
I would expect that would have been part of an additional scene that was cut out due to time, and maybe that's where the Advanced Adventure acoustic maybe would have went because that's why it's still on the soundtrack, but it was never used.
Okay.
So that's what it is. But in terms of character development, like I said, Masato's character development, they needed this because it was very early in the series, and they needed to establish his character because there really wasn't much of a character to begin with, and it was nice that they. I think they didn't play it safe. I think they did a fine job because already in the anime at that point they were already establishing Haruka's character.
True.
So they already had that lined up.
In early,
Yeah.
Advanced Generation.
Yeah, because the first 20 episodes, like the first 18 episodes, you have Haruka basically evolving, character development there. So okay, we need, and then they probably thought, okay, we have Haruka's character development, we didn't have Masato's character development, so let's put it in the movie and let's put it around Jirachi, and they made it work, and I think that was a great decision. After the movie, however, like I said before, Masato's character development pretty much stalled for a good year, but at least they made a good character establishment in this movie. And also, obviously, because of the music, Chisaki Mono is still like the one song that everybody remembers. That it's everlasting. And fun fact that Hayashi Asuka, she would perform the song in later years, but her voice actually she actually lost her low range. So if you listen to her performances from like 10 years ago onwards, she has a much different voice. She has a higher voice now, and she can't sing the song like she did when she was 13. But overall, like I said, it's a great movie that I think that it's I will not hesitate to recommend to anybody. 8.75.
Okay. Richie died. Oh.
Computer just shat itself, so that means I get to talk for another fucking 4 minutes.
Oh
It's
God.
fine. Be honest with you, it's one of those things I actually wouldn't even mind having the full-on conversation about it. But for the sake of the people watching, I don't think they want to watch a 3-hour podcast. We might not have any issues recording it, but it's more so I don't know if we're going to watch 3 hours worth of content. I don't even know how long this has been going. Probably about going on 2 hours.
An hour.
An hour and a half, probably.
Hour and a half? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's besides the point. I don't really have anything else. There's not a lot. I think we've all kind of said our piece on it.
Yeah, we
Yes.
already ranked it.
Exactly. So I specifically want to thank TSS and Poli for coming on here and having
Thank
a
you.
conversation.
Thank you.
And then just to remind you two, just so you know, if you ever want back in or for any future reviews, you were both welcome. I have no issues with any of that.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
you.
the insanity won't be ridiculous.
Well, I would probably only join M7 just to shit on it for fun.
Yeah. I think that's the only
To
reason
be
people want
fair,
to do 7.
when is the last time you two have even watched movie 7?
I watched movie 7 when it came out on Disney Channel, so I want to say about 3 years ago.
What about you, TSS?
What?
Wait, it
Let's
came out on
try.
Disney Channel? What the fuck?
No,
I
that's.
forgot. I didn't know.
What?
I didn't even know.
What is smoking, man?
I didn't even know they
It
re-aired
wasn't
the
on,
film.
it was on Disney Channel at
Yeah,
one
but
point.
it didn't debut there. I mean, it came out
No,
on
no, no, no.
disc.
I didn't say it debuted. I said when it was on Disney Channel. It was like I was
Okay.
watching
Okay.
Disney Channel,
Okay.
Okay.
and Pokemon movie 7 was on it.
TSS,
Okay,
when's
do
the
you-
last
okay,
time
do you want-
watched it?
When the last time I watched movie 7?
Yeah.
December 2004 when they did the sub for it, and that was it. That was the last fucking time I watched it because it was
Oh,
garbage.
God.
I'm more okay. Well, see, Tyrone has a fresher memory, so I'm curious about how you're gonna feel about
Well,
it now.
listen. I will watch through movie 7, and I will still
He's
have
like,
the
"I'm
same.
going to do
I
it."
will still have the same opinion. It's just that if you made me fucking do the 8-minute fucking lovely boy with fucking Pichu and Pikachu again, or Plusle and Mine and Pikachu again, I'll force you guys to listen to that shit.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Oh my goodness! There's a lot of horror here, Polly. Whenever, if you want to, you can jump in on that one.
Oh yeah. Well, I might for the same reasons. Only because Lucario is actually one of my. So it's like
Well,
I
also-
had to get
sorry.
through this one to get to the next one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
also I want to talk about.
most normal people would just say, "Well, I'll let you guys do that one, and I'll jump in for the Lucario review." But, hey,
No,
but also,
she's gonna bite the bullet to get to the better part.
yeah, but that would
but
kill
also,
you.
but also, I want to
Biting a
actually
bullet
jump
will
in.
kill you.
I also
Oh
want
my
to jump in.
goodness.
I also want to jump in to the next review because I also want to talk about the backstory
Okay,
because there's a lot of stuff about movie 7.
we're gonna end the video here because Polly has to go and Richie's.
Oh yeah,
computer
sorry,
killed
not
it,
to
so-
interrupt.
I know
have
it's
to go.
fine. We're at the end anyway. I just want to
Yeah, we're at the end.
so I can cut the recording. So thank you guys. Thank the guests for coming on and us talking about movie
thank-
6.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you for
Yeah, it was.
doing all this.
And like I said, folks, I like to be this way because it's fun. It's fun to kind of get the energetic energy up, and and if anybody watched the podcast that we're part of, or some of us, We like to jab at others just for the sake of entertainment. We respect
It's all in
people.
good
We
fun.
respect. It's all in good fun. We respect everybody. It's just that we love to do these things and we love to make it lively. So
All right. And with that
Yeah,
being
so-
said, next
thank
time
you.
you see us again, it'll be for movie 7, Destiny Deoxys. I hope you look forward to it because we're not going
Rakuno
to.
Homonsha Deoxys.
So anyway, life's a game, play to win, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my
Goodbye.
goodness.